Negative thoughts are not facts. They are mental habits that can be broken. This is one of the most important truths a person can ever learn. Every day, countless people allow negative thoughts to control their decisions, limit their potential, and steal their happiness simply because they believe those thoughts are true. The mind says, you're not good enough, and they accept it. It says, you'll never succeed, and they stop trying. It says, everyone else is better than you, and they lose confidence. But the reality is that these thoughts are not facts. They are often nothing more than repeated mental patterns that have grown stronger over time. Think about it. If someone repeatedly tells themselves they are incapable, eventually they begin to believe it, even when there is no evidence to support that belief. The mind becomes trained to focus on weaknesses instead of strengths, problems instead of possibilities, and failures instead of lessons. Over time, negativity becomes a habit. But just as any habit can be learned, any habit can also be unlearned. The key is to stop treating every thought as the truth. Not every thought deserves your attention, and not every thought deserves your belief. When a negative thought appears, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I have? Would I say this to someone I care about? Most of the time, you will discover that the thought is based on fear, insecurity, or past experiences rather than reality. Breaking the habit of negative thinking requires patience and practice. It means consciously replacing destructive thoughts with constructive ones. It means focusing on progress instead of perfection, solutions instead of excuses, and opportunities instead of obstacles. At first, this may feel difficult because the mind naturally returns to familiar patterns. However, every time you challenge a negative thought, you weaken its influence. Every time you choose a positive and empowering perspective, you strengthen a new mental habit. Remember, your thoughts shape your actions shape your habits, and your habits shape your future. Do not allow negative thoughts to define who you are. They are not facts. They are habits, and habits can always be changed. Your biggest enemy is often the voice inside your own mind. Most people spend their lives believing that their greatest obstacles are outside of them. They blame difficult circumstances, lack of opportunities, competition, criticism, or bad luck for holding them back. While these challenges are real, there is often a much bigger obstacle that goes unnoticed: the negative voice inside their own mind. It is the voice that whispers doubts when they are about to take a risk. It is the voice that reminds them of past failures whenever they try something new. It is the voice that says, you are not good enough, you will never succeed, or why even try? Unlike external enemies, this voice follows you everywhere. It is present when you wake up in the morning, when you make important decisions, and when you face moments that could change your life. What makes this inner voice so dangerous is that it often sounds convincing. It speaks in a familiar tone because it comes from within. Over time, many people begin to mistake these negative thoughts for reality. They start limiting themselves before life has a chance to challenge them. They reject opportunities because they assume they will fail. They remain silent because they fear judgment. They settle for less because they doubt their own worth. In many cases, people are not defeated by actual failure. They are defeated by the fear of failure created by their own thoughts. The truth is that this inner critic does not define who you are. It is simply a collection of fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs that have been repeated so often that they seem true. The moment you recognize that voice for what it is, you begin to take away its power. Instead of automatically believing every negative thought, learn to question it. Challenge its assumptions. Replace self-criticism with self-respect and doubt with determination. Every successful person has faced moments of uncertainty, but they refused to let their inner voice make decisions for them. They acted despite fear. They moved forward despite doubt. They understood that courage is not the absence of negative thoughts. It is the decision not to be controlled by them. When you learn to master the voice inside your mind, you unlock a level of strength, confidence, and potential that was always within you, waiting to be discovered. Success begins when you stop negotiating with self-doubt. One of the biggest reasons people fail to reach their goals is not a lack of talent, intelligence, or opportunity. It is the habit of constantly negotiating with self-doubt. Every time a new opportunity appears, self-doubt steps in with questions and excuses. It asks, what if you fail? What if you're not ready? What if people judge you? Instead of moving forward, many people begin a mental conversation with these fears. They argue with them, justify them, and eventually allow them to make decisions on their behalf. As a result, dreams remain dreams, opportunities pass by, and potential remains unused. The truth is that self-doubt never completely disappears. Even the most successful people experience moments of uncertainty. The difference is that successful people do not give self-doubt a seat at the decision-making table. They understand that waiting for perfect confidence is a losing strategy, because confidence is not something that magically appears before action. Confidence is created through action. It grows every time you face a challenge, every time you take a risk, and every time you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you imagined. Think about how many opportunities are lost because people listen to the voice that tells them they are not ready. They delay starting a business, applying for a job, learning a new skill, or pursuing a dream because they keep waiting for certainty. But certainty rarely exists. Growth happens in moments of discomfort. Success belongs to those who are willing to move forward even when they have doubts. When you stop negotiating with self-doubt, you begin to take control of your life. You stop asking for permission from your fears. You stop allowing negative thoughts to dictate your actions. Instead, you focus on what needs to be done and take the next step regardless of how you feel. The more you act despite uncertainty, the weaker self-doubt becomes, and the stronger your belief in yourself grows. Remember, self-doubt is a voice, not a verdict. It does not determine your future unless you allow it to. The moment you stop listening to every fearful thought and start trusting your ability to learn, adapt, and grow, you set yourself on the path to success. That is where real progress begins. And that is where extraordinary achievements are born. Every negative thought you entertain steals a piece of your potential. Human potential is one of the most powerful forces in the world. Every person is born with talents to develop, dreams to pursue, and abilities that can grow far beyond what they currently imagine. Yet many people never come close to reaching their true potential, not because they lack capability, but because they allow negative thoughts to take control of their minds. Every time a person entertains a negative thought and accepts it as truth, they give away a small piece of the confidence, energy, and determination needed to achieve great things. Negative thoughts often seem harmless at first. They may appear as simple doubts such as, I'm not smart enough, I'm not talented enough, or I'll probably fail anyway. However, when these thoughts are repeated day after day, they begin to shape behavior. A person who constantly doubts their abilities becomes less willing to take risks. They avoid challenges, hesitate to seize opportunities, and remain trapped within the boundaries of their comfort zone. Over time, these limitations become self-imposed barriers that prevent growth and success. The greatest tragedy is that many people never discover what they are truly capable of because they surrender to negative thinking before they even try. They allow fear to convince them that their goals are impossible. They let past mistakes define their future. They focus so much on what could go wrong that they never give themselves the chance to find out what could go right. In doing so, they slowly give away the potential that could have transformed their lives. Every negative thought you choose to entertain consumes valuable mental energy. Instead of focusing on solutions, progress, and opportunities, your mind becomes occupied with worry, fear, and limitation. The more attention you give these thoughts, the stronger they become. The more you believe them, the more power they have over your actions. To protect your potential, you must learn to challenge negative thinking. Refuse to let doubt become your identity. Replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Focus on your strengths, your progress, and your ability to learn from setbacks. Remember that your future is not determined by the negative thoughts that enter your mind, but by the thoughts you choose to believe and act upon. Every time you reject negativity and choose growth instead, you reclaim a piece of your potential and move closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. Mental strength is built by discipline, not by motivation alone. Many people believe that success depends on motivation. They wait for the perfect feeling, the perfect mood, or the perfect moment before taking action. They tell themselves that once they feel inspired, they will start working on their goals, improving their habits, or changing their lives. The problem is that motivation is unreliable. Some days it is strong and other days it disappears completely. If your progress depends entirely on motivation, your results will always be inconsistent. This is why true mental strength is not built by motivation alone. It is built by discipline. Motivation is an emotion, and emotions naturally change. You may feel excited about a new goal today, but that excitement can fade when challenges appear. Discipline, however, is different. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. It is waking up early when you would rather stay in bed. It is continuing to work when the task becomes difficult. It is making the right choices even when no one is watching. Discipline teaches you to act based on commitment rather than emotion. The strongest people are not necessarily the most talented or the most motivated. They are often the people who have trained themselves to remain consistent. They understand that progress is created through daily actions repeated over time. They know that success is rarely the result of one big decision. It is usually the result of hundreds of small disciplined choices made day after day. Mental strength grows every time you keep a promise to yourself. When you push through discomfort, resist distractions, and stay focused on your goals, you build trust in your own abilities. You prove to yourself that you can be relied upon even when circumstances are difficult. This self-trust becomes the foundation of confidence and resilience. Life will always present obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. During those moments, motivation may not be there to help you. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward. It gives you the power to continue when enthusiasm fades and results seem distant. Remember, motivation can start the journey, but discipline is what finishes it. If you want a stronger mind, greater confidence, and lasting success, stop depending solely on motivation and start developing the discipline to act consistently, no matter how you feel. That is where true mental strength is built. The quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Every person wants a better life. People dream of success, happiness, confidence, meaningful relationships, and a sense of purpose. Yet many fail to realize that the foundation of all these things begins in the mind. The quality of your life is deeply connected to the quality of your thoughts, because your thoughts influence your decisions, your actions, your habits, and ultimately your future. Long before success or failure appears in the outside world, it first takes shape in the way a person thinks. When your mind is filled with negative thoughts, everything around you begins to look difficult and impossible. Challenges appear larger than they really are, opportunities go unnoticed, and setbacks feel permanent. A person who constantly thinks about failure becomes afraid to take risks. Someone who focuses only on problems struggles to find solutions. Negative thinking creates a mental environment where fear, doubt, and frustration grows stronger every day. Over time, these thoughts shape behavior, causing people to settle for less than they are capable of achieving. On the other hand, positive and constructive thinking creates a completely different experience of life. This does not mean ignoring problems or pretending that difficulties do not exist. It means choosing to focus on possibilities instead of limitations. It means believing that challenges can be overcome, mistakes can become lessons, and setbacks can become opportunities for growth. People who develop this mindset are more likely to take action, persevere through obstacles, and continue moving forward even when circumstances are difficult. Your thoughts are like seeds planted in the garden of your mind. Whatever you repeatedly think about eventually begins to grow. If you plant fear, doubt, and negativity, those things will influence your behavior and shape your future. If you plant confidence, determination, gratitude, and hope, those qualities will guide your actions and improve the direction of your life. Every great achievement begins with a thought. Every positive change starts with a new way of thinking. This is why protecting your mind is one of the most important responsibilities you have. Pay attention to what you allow into your thoughts each day. Challenge beliefs that hold you back and strengthen beliefs that move you forward. Remember, your circumstances may influence your life, but your thoughts influence how you respond to those circumstances. Improve the quality of your thoughts, and you will improve the quality of your life.